Welcome back to Sunrise. Well, yes, indeed, the situation with the states lingering at the moment. Babajide Ogunsanwo joins us now. He's Channels TV's data analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
It's always great to be with the team, Mark.
This is a challenge that the country faces at the moment. So, looking through all of this and the attendant figures, how far or close are we to sorting this out?
I think we're at a very long way from sorting this out. If you look at all the states and you look at their budget vis-a-vis what they earn, in simple terms, if we are able to take a peep into what the balance sheets of all the state government accounts look like, here's what you find.
It's in the safe?
Yes, it's in the safe. I just have to spend some time opening and trying to decode the safe. Here's what you find.
Empty?
It's empty. There is no state government that can fund their budgets strictly based on their internally generated revenue.
No state government?
No state government. Here's what the facts tell us. That there are 28 states whose 90% of their funding for their budget has to come from either the federal government or they will need to get a loan. 28 states. And none of these states can fund their budget strictly based on their internally generated revenue. What you will find also is that there are even 5 states whose 2011 IGR is better than their 2015 IGR.
Is there a reason for that?
We haven't gotten any clear explanation from any of those 5 states, but what we understand is that there's a blame game on the poor economic situation across their states. So you have Imo, for instance, one of those 5 states. You have Kebbi, you have Kwara and Benue, and you also have Yobe in the northeast. And then you find out that if at the state level we're having so much insolvency problems, we understand why there's a need for them to restructure their finances. However, is getting a loan or getting some sort of palliative from the federal government the solution to this? I don't think so. 4 decades ago, the New York City was in a state of distress. October 16, 1975, 4 p.m. on the following day, New York City was going to be bankrupt. They ran to the President of the United States then, Gerald Ford, asking for a loan. And he asked them 2 questions. He asked them, was their financial problems caused by a natural disaster, or was it caused by an act of God? And he said unless they could prove to them that those were the causes, he wasn't going to give them any loan. Most people refer to 1975 in New York as the birth of innovation, because what he then meant was the then mayor, Abraham Beam, and the governor, Hugh Carey, had to creatively decide on what they would do next, because the president had said clearly he wasn't going to bail them out.
But the states in Nigeria are not New York. I mean, in fact, they'll tell you very clearly that we practice federalism only in name, and that, you know, it's practiced in toto in the United States. It's practiced both in name and act. Do you see that difference also hampering what states can or cannot do?
I don't think so. I think what happens most times is our states are quick to move on to the side that always pays them when it comes to a discussion. We will say, for instance, that we follow the presidential system of the United States when it suits us. And when it doesn't suit us, we decide to request for a parliamentary system. I don't think that is the right narrative. Because what it meant was, even New York had to take some hard decisions, they had to lay off staff.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not talking about parliamentary system versus presidential system. I'm talking about the system, or even the presidential system itself, the idea of federalism. For instance, states have said they should be in control of their resources so they can pay tax to the federal government. Do you think that idea is something that the states need to, or the federal government and the states need to practice now?
I don't think that should be the way we should kick off with, because in most times, if there's only one way to solve a problem, very soon that way would even become the problem. So if for the states, if the only way to solve the problem is for them to have control of their resources, if that's the only way that will solve it, in the days ahead, even that way will become a problem. It makes me easily remember in 2013 actually, there was a Brazilian nightclub that had a fire incident and over 200 people died. The problem was there was only one exit out of the club. So if the states demand to control their resources, there's nothing wrong with that request. However, if for them, if that is the only way they feel they can solve their financial problems, then we have a bigger problem.
Looking also at that solution and listening to the governor of Kwara State, he was talking about how the reason why some local governments cannot even generate funds. He said that these local governments were created on a political basis, which is what some people will also talk about some states. You know, they say some states have no business being states. We've heard that before. Do you think that we really can, I mean, some states, is that statement true? Put it that way.
Maybe we'll respond to that when we return from this break. So please join us again.